What is it about a mirror that unsettles us? On the surface, it's nothing more than polished glass backed with a thin sheet of metal. An everyday object, something you pass by without thinking. You've stood before them 1,000 times, brushing your teeth, fixing your hair, checking your outfit before stepping out into the world. A mirror should be ordinary and harmless, and yet it never quite feels that way. There's a reason so many people can't stand to look at themselves for too long in the dark. There's a reason why we catch our own reflection moving in the corner of our eye and feel the hair on the back of our neck rise up. Folklore tells us that mirrors don't just hold our image, they hold a piece of us. In some cultures, mirrors are said to trap the soul, stealing a sliver of your essence every time you gaze into the glass. This is why in certain traditions, mirrors are covered when someone dies, so their restless spirit won't get caught inside, clawing at the silver surface for eternity. Other legends say mirrors are doorways, fragile panes of glass separating us from something vast and unknowable. We think we're looking at ourselves, but what if, just beyond that thin reflective skin, there's something else there, waiting for us? Something with infinite patience, wearing our face like a mask, smiling when we don't, tilting its head when we hold still, mouthing words we never said. And every once in a while, if you linger too long in front of that mirror, if you stare too deeply, the illusion of safety shatters. The mirror, or what's within it, notices you. And once it notices you, there's no going back. Welcome back to Let's Get Haunted with your hosts,
Nat Strawn
and Aly. Welcome back, Haunties, to episode 233 of Let's Get Haunted. We're your hosts, Nat and Aly, and on today's episode of Let's Get Haunted, we have something very special planned for you today. But first, Nat, do you want to introduce our show to anyone who might be watching for the very first time?
I would love to. First of all, welcome to the Haunted Fam. We're so excited to have you here. This is a place where we get spooked. It's called Let's Get Haunted. So if you're listening to this right now, you got to toss all of your triggers out the window. Our job is to literally fuck you the fuck up, okay? Every single week, we switch off telling each other stories. This week is Aly's turn to tell me a story. I don't know what she's going to talk about. I just heard her record that crazy hook about fucking mirrors wearing your face, which was terrifying. And next week, I'm going to do a story that Aly doesn't know what it's going to be. So if you don't like this episode and you want a complete change of tone, just wait till next week because I promise you it's going to change. Now, that is a two-way street because some of you love Aly's episodes, so I know you really don't like mine, and vice versa. But you know what? This is a show where the hosts have such different personalities, but we come together and it's a diverse, it's like a quilt, you know, all the little pieces come together.
So true.
And it makes you feel safe and warm, except you're about to get haunted, bitch. So buckle the fuck up.
Wow, that was absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. I could not agree with you more, Nat. Welcome to everybody who might be new, and welcome back to the Haunties that have been with us for years, for centuries perhaps. Maybe you never really left the Haunted Fam, and we've all been here all along. Who can ever really know what is real and what's fake when you're dealing with a very haunted podcast? We also have this episode filmed. This year, we decided to film in video all of our episodes. We previously used to just be an audio-only podcast. So for those of you listening to the audio-only version, just know that you can tune into Spotify or YouTube in order to watch us in real time talking about this very spooky story. For those of you who prefer audio-only, no worries. You can continue to listen to us and not watch us. And if you'd like to see key images and photos that we reference during the course of this episode, you can head over to @Let'sGetHaunted on Instagram, where we have a photo dump that corresponds to each and every episode. We also do something called secret passwords, no time to explain, but if you're scrolling through comments on the photo dump, you might be very confused if you miss what the secret password is. And we really can't explain anything else because it's a secret.
Aly, that was a very terrifying hook. It's got me wondering, are mirrors, like would a screen be a mirror? Because we're seeing a mirror image of ourselves reflected back right now in this Zoom call.
Oh, wow. I don't
So
think this
every time we do
counts.
this podcast, do we lose a piece of our soul?
Well, as this episode unfolds, we are going to go into some cultural superstitions from various regions of the world.
Yeah.
And some people might argue that, yes, maybe a picture is a piece of you being stolen in the same way that maybe a mirror is a piece of you being stolen. I hope not, because we are constantly looking at each other through screens because we live on opposite sides of the country. But I'm very, very excited to bring you this episode today, Nat, because we are finally going to be continuing our fan favorite series. We've heard you all in the comments begging for more, and I'm here to deliver because this is our 8th iteration of Paranormal Games to play in the dark.
Yeah. Okay, guys, go ahead and just give it a 5-star review right now, preemptively, because this is going to be a great episode. I love these episodes. I'm literally obsessed, and I'm super stoked to hear what fucked up games people are playing. Now, are people actually playing these games? You guys listen to the episode and you let me know if people are really playing these games, because it's like, I guess anything could be a game, right? Like, let's go bury ourselves alive, and then whoever survives gets a 1 wish, but if you don't make the correct wish on the perfect time, then your soul gets taken.
Yep.
Those are the kind of games.
As you've pointed out before in past episodes, Nat, some of these games are like barely games. It almost just seems like a death wish. Like somebody had one last hope for themselves and they're like, if this doesn't work out, that's it for me. I am content with what I have done so far in this lifetime. So I'm going to sell my soul to the devil. A lot of these games go that direction. So let's do a quick recap of all of the different episodes that we have done so far in the realm of Paranormal Games to play in the dark, because it's been a while. I think it's been like a year since our last Paranormal Games to play in the dark.
Oh, wow.
So here we go.
Seriously.
Vegans, it's time to huddle up. When you're practicing veganism, it can sometimes be hard to make sure you're getting all the necessary nutrients that you need for your body to work correctly. Now, hey, don't leave. I'm a vegan. This is friendly fire, okay? I am just telling you what my personal experience is. When I started down the path to veganism, everything was fine. And then a few years in, you start to realize, oh my God, my hair is thinning, my bones hurt. Well, today I'm here to talk to you about one of the things that I do to help counteract that loss of vital nutrients. If you're dealing with hair issues like thinning or shedding, but feel totally stuck on what to try next, I get it. There are so many products out there and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. And that's exactly why I gave NUTRAFOL a closer look. It's not just hype, it's physician formulated, clinically tested, and even recommended by dermatologists. In fact, NUTRAFOL is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. I use NUTRAFOL's women's vegan formula, and I actually open up the capsules and stick it in my protein shake every single day. I love it. Actually, here, let me take my hair. Today's probably not a good example, but let me show you how friggin' long my hair is right now. Low key, it's giving Little House on the Prairie, and I actually need a haircut, and I also need to shower, but look at this shit. And that's all thanks to NUTRAFOL. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in 3 to 6 months with NUTRAFOL. For a limited time, NUTRAFOL is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to NUTRAFOL.com and enter promo code HAUNTED. Find out why NUTRAFOL is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at NUTRAFOL.com, spelled NUTRAFOL.com, promo code HAUNTED. Haunted. That's NUTRAFOL.com, promo code HAUNTED. And now back to your regularly scheduled haunting. In episode 80, we brought you 2 American and 2 Japanese occult games by examining the Three Kings Ritual, the Ray Contest, the Elevator Game, and the 11-Mile Ritual. Now, one of those games was even turned into a short film by our friend James after he heard it, so you know that episode 80 is a banger. Then, in episode 91, we took a trip down to Mexico to learn about the Red Book Game and the Cup Game, with a quick detour to listen to some sage advice imparted upon us by a priest specializing in exorcisms, and we even interviewed a hauntee who had played the Red Book Game with some very scary consequences and actually had to undergo a exorcism of sorts to get rid of whatever residual energy had followed her after that. In episode 125, we went multicultural, covering the Japanese game of Daruma-san, which is one of those games that's barely a game, and the Southern American game of the Hooded Man Ritual, along with the Latin American ritual known as La Segua. For episode 147, we covered what is probably my personal favorite out of all the paranormal games, learning about a very haunted scarecrow that attacks you through your Tupperware in The Man in the Fields. And looking at how to enter parallel dimensions via the Inconvenience Store game and Channel Infinity. Do you recall The Man in the Fields?
Well, of course I do. I don't know why, but this one's stuck with us. Basically, I can't remember exactly all of the details, but you have to go to a farm to play it where there's like a bunch of fields outside, and then you do something. I don't know what you do to call the man of the fields, but you do some sort of ritual or something. But before you do the ritual, you have to close every single door in your house, like every opening. So that means not just like doors and windows, but like drawers, Tupperwares, like if you have like a little box full of trinkets, like something you store your rings in, like everything has to be closed because this man of the fields, I guess, is going to try to run into your house, and he's like a scarecrow that as soon as he gets activated, he like starts sprinting as fast as he can towards your home. But then at the same time, there's like this random old man like butler guy who's just like chilling in the corner, and I don't know what you do, but you have to do something, otherwise you turn into that guy. You turn into the like old man butler thing.
Yeah,
right?
Very, very haunted for sure. I really don't know why that one stuck with us, but I think about it more often than I should. It's really unhealthy how often I think of The Man in the Fields, and then I just start laughing in the middle of my day, and I can't even explain to anyone. I actually tried to explain to my brother the other day, The Man in the Fields, and he was like, what are you talking about?
Right, I know.
Especially when you're trying to talk to, I love my brother very much, very normal guy, and unfortunately this is not a normal show. So first it's like I have to explain the concept of a haunted game. He had never even heard of Bloody Mary before, which is insane to me.
Okay, that's a sleeper agent for sure. That is not like your brother. That is someone that's been replaced.
That's a doppelganger.
For sure. Yeah, you can't trust that one. Yeah, you know, something about like an entity coming in through an unzipped Ziploc bag is just like so foreign to me.
It's
and
so unhinged.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just absolutely wild. I don't know who invented that game or discovered it, but get well soon.
Get well soon. Prayers up to whoever that person was. Next, we had episode 161, where we learned about a game called The Witch's Window that temporarily grants the player magical abilities. And we learned a bit of Indonesian folk magic that will supposedly pull your parallel universe doppelganger into your backyard in the occult twin ritual. For episode 171, we learned a meditative exercise that reveals your guardian angel to you. And as a reminder, Nat's guardian angel was apparently just a treasure chest. And we learned a game that barely makes any sense at all, where you bargain with an enigmatic figure known as the Travel Man for your soul.
Travel Man,
grant me a wish. It was something like that.
Yeah, I remember the song from it, and I was like, why? And he shows up to your door with like a briefcase, and wasn't there something where it's like you're supposed to like guess like a number between 1 or 10? Like there was some sort of like guessing part of it, like you're supposed to bet, and I was like, but why don't you just bet the most that you could possibly bet? And there's some sort of like weird strategy to it, because if you bet too much, then you might, I can't remember what the game was, honestly.
You lose your soul.
Like a weird, you fuck up any of these games, you lose your soul. That's always the spoiler alert, is like, well, you lost your soul. So if you go into this not caring what happens to your soul, like you have nothing to lose, and you might just win the whole damn thing.
Literally. Some of these are so complicated that you really just got to go back and listen to the episode, but I will have all of them linked below for anyone curious, or anyone who's been here for a while and just wants to relive the good memories, because there are some real good memories associated with these. And finally, in episode 181, we taught you that each of our closets is actually a portal in the closet game, and that breaking a mirror for the dark reflection ritual could result in a wave of bad luck that, if survived, will grant you a wave of very, very good luck. And in today's episode 233, we will be taking a look at a truly terrifying game that may land you face to face with the devil himself as you place yourself into what is known as the Devil's Toy Box.
Okay, that sounds like a sex shop if I've ever heard of one. The Devil's Toy Box. Okay, I am extremely interested, Allie. I am fully sat and I've got my horse shirt on, so
Oh,
I
I
feel
love.
like I'm just ready to take on whatever you have to tell me. I'm studious. I'm sat. Let's go.
All right, without further ado, it's time to learn about the Devil's Toy Box. Part 1. The Devil's Toy Box. The Devil's Toy Box and its companion game, the Mirror Box Ritual, has roots in both Louisiana folklore and internet urban legends that date back decades. We will first begin with an explanation of the legend of the Devil's Toy Box before examining its related game that each of you can play at home called the Mirror Box Ritual. An old urban legend, allegedly originating from a small, unnamed town in Louisiana, tells the story of a strange, antisocial farmer who sets up a haunted attraction on his land each Halloween season. The attraction includes a maze, a pumpkin patch, hay rides, cornhole contests, and plenty of photo opportunities in front of colorful fall-themed murals painted on wooden plyboards. This charming tourist destination seems fun and welcoming during the day, but as soon as the sun goes down and the attraction closes to the public, the farmer is said to set up a far more sinister display on the edge of his property. Why the old farmer sets up this dangerous display each night is unknown. Some say he was tired of local youths trampling his pumpkins and spray painting over his murals under the cover of darkness, and so created this new attraction as a trap for any would-be vandals. Others say that the farmer lost his mind after living alone in such an isolated part of the state once his wife died. Still others speculate that the farmer had entered into some sort of blood contract with the devil himself, and that in exchange for a bountiful harvest one particularly rough season, he had agreed to construct the evil contraption now glinting under the moonlight. Whatever the case, the object the farmer wheels out onto his property each and every evening in October is described as follows: a small room no larger than an outhouse consisting of 4 mirror-lined walls, a see-through glass or plastic roof, and a wooden floor. Large enough for only one person at a time and entered via a small door built into one of the walls. Once inside the structure, there is said to be barely enough room for one occupant to stand or sit with their knees hugged to their chest. The interior of the structure is said to consist of 4 long mirrors, completely covering each wall from floor to ceiling, and the exterior appears to be made of simple wood boards, likely plywood left over from the farmer's fall-themed decorations. This little room may seem innocuous at first, but those who have entered it alone at night offer a different perspective altogether. One young man who went into the booth for just 2 minutes came out completely mute, having lost the ability to speak for the rest of his life. A girl who went into it supposedly suffered a heart attack and died before EMS could reach her. A teenager who dared enter had to be dragged out by his friends after he began screaming incoherently and banging on the mirrored walls. Later on, as the legend goes, the teen hanged himself, never being able to explain what it was that he had seen while locked within the small booth. As word spread throughout the surrounding areas, more and more teenagers flocked to the farm to see the wooden structure for themselves. And those brave enough to enter it did so while their friends timed how long they could withstand being inside of it. Despite dozens of kids trying out the booth for themselves, for whatever reason, no one could ever describe what they had seen. It was as if they each suffered from some sort of retrograde amnesia and could only sputter that something inhuman had stared back at them from the mirror. And thus, the attraction was nicknamed the Devil's Box.
The Devil's Box. Am I supposed to not comment on that? Like, you really gonna finish that whole story with those 2 words and just give me that look like that?
You know, the Devil's Box. It's an urban legend. It's an urban legend that allegedly comes from Louisiana and then has been spun into several versions of the story that you can actually play in the comfort of your own home if you're ambitious enough.
You know what this is reminding me of? Okay, so a long time ago on the show for the Yellow Deli Cult episode, we had one of our longtime friends, Reckless Ben from YouTube, who is an amazing YouTuber. You guys got to check him out. He's crazy as fuck. He like infiltrated like a cult. He does this stuff all the time. Like he infiltrates Scientology. Like he does crazy shit that I could never do. One of the things he did was like he found out this guy who's like super famous online for having like this haunted house was actually just a fraud, like, and he, you know, really pressured the guy because the guy was like, if you, you know, pass my initial testing where I like torture you or whatever, then you get to go to my haunted house. But no one could ever go to the haunted house. So then Reckless Ben and like his friend, they both like went through this crazy torture session with like hidden cameras and stuff, and they're like, all right, we're ready for the house, we're ready to go to the house, like just fucking getting stabbed and like heads shaven, you know, like teeth getting ripped out and stuff. They're like, we're ready to go to the house. And then he's like, no, you're not ready to go to the house. And they're like, yeah, because there's not a fucking house, like this is just a racket, right? Like no one ever gets to go to the haunted house because there is not one, and it just ends up being a whole scam, whatever. It's making me think of this, like this guy is there's just a guy in the middle of fucking Louisiana who takes a box where you can't stand up in it for some reason, aligns it with mirrors, puts it in like the middle of his yard. I don't know how he markets this thing. How did people like find out about this or whatever? I don't know. And people just go in it and like time themselves. Does he charge money for this? Because what the fuck am I doing with my life if I can just like dig a hole and charge people to just go sit in there and like see how long they can sit in it?
In the wise words of Lil Wayne, you ain't gotta tell your friend that I eat it in the morning, cause she gon' say, I know. Can I hit it in the bathroom? Put your hands on the toilet. And you know what else can be compared to a toilet? Your bed sheets. Traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. It can lead to acne, allergies, stuffy noses, and it's just gross. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Plus, they contain temperature-regulating properties for better quality sleep. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather. So you get better sleep every night. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Upgrade your sleep as the weather heats up. Go to trymiracle.com/haunted to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code HAUNTED at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product that it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/haunted and use the code HAUNTED to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/haunted to treat yourself. Thanks, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this week's episode. And now back to your regularly scheduled haunting. So it's sort of the opposite of what you're describing, because according to the legend, and this is why some people think it has credence, according to the legend, this farmer has a daytime attraction during October. And it's very cute, whimsical. Influencers come, they take photos. It's like, you know, a little pumpkin patch. You can buy pumpkins. You can play cornhole. There's a pie eating contest, perhaps. I did not read that in the source material, but one can imagine. There's haunted hay rides. You know, it's just a very fun, spooky fall time for people to wear their chunky sweaters and drink PSLs and pose for the gram. However, as the legend goes, he was really tired of kids coming to the farm while it was after hours, because after a certain point, it gets dark, he closes up the farm, and he wants to go to fucking bed. And people were breaking in, teens were breaking into his farm and wreaking havoc. Like they were smashing pumpkins with golf clubs. They were spray painting, tagging over his beautiful fall murals on this wooden plyboard. You know, like those wood walls that you can stick your face through and it looks like you're a gourd or something. Apparently he had stuff like that, and kids would spray paint over it and write fuck in big letters and just do things that fucking sucked. Like steal his cornhole. It was a bummer. So he's like
those dirty rascals. Wait, what did the Scooby-Doo people always call them? They're like, "Oh, get those kids."
If it weren't for those meddling kids or something like that.
And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
All right, come on, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the meddling kids are meddling.
They were meddling. They were meddling. In a tale as old as time, teens were meddling. And it was a real bummer for everyone else. But for them, it was very fun. You know, they're having a great time. They have no incentive to stop. And so this farmer is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wheel out an attraction that's only available after hours. And I'm going to leave it there. And it's going to look so strange that people aren't going to smash my pumpkins and tag up my attraction and steal my shit. They're going to be like, what is this? It's not here during the day. Let's go explore it. Little did they know that it was haunted.
Okay, but like, how did it get haunted?
That's the question that we don't have the answer to. So some of the theories are that this guy was all by himself farming. He had a really bad season. I saw some people said, oh, he had a flood. Some people said, oh no, there was a fire. His crop insurance wouldn't pay out, or maybe he didn't have any. And so he's like, oh my God, I'm on the brink of ruin. What can I do? I'm like, this is the last bad season I can ever have. I'm about to lose the farm, lose my house, lose everything. So he enters into a pact with the devil. And the devil says to him, all right, I will go ahead and give you a bountiful harvest. So attractive is this harvest that you can actually expand your business, maybe go into agritourism in the form of this pumpkin patch and maize. I will do this for you in exchange for you harvesting souls for me, and gifts him this box of mirrors that children can climb inside.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So I took some liberties with my story that were not the same. This sounds much more haunted. Yeah, in my mind, there was no like pact with the devil.
Right.
Like the devil, didn't gift this box. Okay. All right, so now that I understand what we're talking about, let's continue.
That's just one of the theories. There are other rumors that the guy just like went insane after his wife died, which is sad, and then decided that he hated kids, but that makes less sense to me.
Okay, and also that makes it sound like he wasn't insane when the wife was around. Like, I'm assuming he was insane and then the wife died and like he probably was still insane and there was like no one there to like clean up his messes, you know?
I wish we had more backstory, but as is the case with all of these haunted games to play in the dark, we kind of like start the story in the middle. It's like when you arrive late to a movie and you walk in and the first 15 minutes are missing and you're like, I think I can piece it together, you know, because I already paid for this movie and I'm already here, so I'm going to sit here and watch the whole thing, but actually you missed a major plot point in the beginning. That's how I feel.
I guess you're right. Like, I'm being weird because like if you were to sit down and watch a soccer game or something on TV, you wouldn't be like, so who invented the grass that they're playing on? Oh, okay, there's 2 goals there. Tell me more about the history of soccer. Like, people would be like, just shut up and watch the game. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you explain.
I have to Google who invented AstroTurf because now I'm very interested. It was invented by Donald L. Elbert in 1965, and it was installed in the Houston Astrodome, which is how it got the name AstroTurf.
Okay, wait. I learned something crazy this weekend, and I don't know if it's true either, but like, it's another little tidbit. Let me add it in here before I ever forget it.
Yeah.
I heard that like the term white collar comes from, in the olden days, like the aristocracy would wear their riding clothes, like their English riding clothes includes like a white collared shirt. And then when people would ask them like at work, like, oh, can you like dig a hole over there? They would be like, no, I can't because I'm wearing my riding clothes and I'm not dressed for labor like that. Labor with like
a U.
O-U-R. Yeah. Labor like that. And that that was like their excuse of like, no, I'm dressed for riding. I cannot help with these sort of things today. And so I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a nice story.
I believe it. I believe it. I just thought I agree with you. Yeah, it's fun. The little facts we learn along the way. And who knows, someday in the future, we might be plucked out for an episode of Jeopardy, or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire might make a comeback, and who invented AstroTurf, or how did AstroTurf get its name, or how did White Collar get its name, might be the $1 million question. So everyone needs to pay attention and watch every single second of every single LGH episode, because you never know when there's going to be a nugget of knowledge amongst all the nonsense.
Yeah, and give us 5 stars.
Continuing on with the story of the Devil's Box. In a story posted to Thought Catalog by author Joel Farrelly, and another very similar story posted to Reddit by user Clarence Worley, the experiences of some teenagers who claimed to have survived being inside the Devil's Box are shared. Here is a shortened version of that story. In a small Louisiana town, there used to be a Halloween attraction called Farmer Graves' Haunted Orchard. Most of it was cheap plywood shacks, carnival games, and jump scares, but in 2014, something new appeared at the far edge of the orchard. A room built entirely of mirrors known as the Devil's Toybox. The legend that came with it was simple. If you stayed inside the box for too long, the devil himself would appear to you. At first, it was just a dare. Kids lined up to prove that they could last a few minutes in the mirrored room, but nobody ever made it to 10. One man who lasted nearly 5 minutes stumbled out in shock and never spoke again. A woman who went inside for 3 collapsed from a heart attack and died. A boy who went in for 1 minute had to be dragged out screaming, and weeks later, he took his own life. The attraction shut down almost immediately, but the box wasn't destroyed. It was locked, left standing like a secret that no one wanted to touch. That's when the stories began. Teenagers sneaking into the orchard swore they heard voices near the box at night, whispers calling out their name. Others claimed that they saw the old owner, Will Sawyer, wandering through the fields at night, smiling, offering brave souls who trespassed onto his property the chance to go inside. Some even said that the padlock was intentionally left open at times, like the box itself wanted visitors. Over the years, a few people vanished after talking about the toy box. One girl named Erin posted online about her missing boyfriend, saying he'd gone out to explore the orchard and never came back. Erin had gone to police, but they didn't believe her. She then had to recruit a bunch of her friends to go investigate. They reported seeing strange shadows moving in the mirrors, reflections that didn't match their own movements, and strange whispers and fog that couldn't be explained. Those who entered and returned always told the same kind of story. Inside, the air feels heavy, like the mirrors are watching you. After a few minutes, your reflection starts to move differently, winking at you, smiling when you don't, tilting its head to the side, mouthing words you never said, reaching out its hand to you. And deep in the endless tunnel of glass, something else begins crawling closer from the shadows. As that creature gets closer and closer, you see in horror that it is wearing your face. The toy box is supposedly still out there, hidden behind overgrown vines on the Sawyer property, locked up but never destroyed. And they say if you can find it, don't look for too long in the mirrors, because once your reflection notices you, it won't stop hunting you until it finds a way out.
That just made me really jump. That was scary. Because I was just picturing like a snake with my face on it, like AI'd, you know?
Yeah.
And it was really scary. I don't like that at all. But I also, like, what do you mean it's like whispering words that you wouldn't say? Like, is it like saying the N-word and shit? Like, what is it saying?
No, I think what they meant from all the stories I read on like message boards, and people have written short stories about it, and there are articles about it and stuff like that. There's posts on Reddit about it. It seems like it speaks in tongues to you. So it would be like you go in the box, it can only fit one person, your friend closes the door and holds it shut, And then you start looking into the mirror, and at first everything's normal. It's just you looking at your reflection. But then as you sit there for longer, strange things start to happen. And it's different for every person. And some iterations of this legend say that actually we don't know what anyone is doing because it changes per person. And some people can't even tell you what they saw. They just know it was traumatic. It's like this retrograde amnesia happens to some people. But apparently some people have heard just swirling voices around them while they're in there looking at their reflection. Some people, their reflection after a few moments starts to do things that you're not doing. So if you're just standing there because it's so small, all of a sudden your reflection will lift its hand or wink at you or look around you or smile or, pull something out from behind its back, something that's so obvious that you're not doing it. And so I guess it starts off more subtle. Your reflection will blink at a different time than you. And so you're like, did I really see that or did I not? But if you stay in there longer, weirder and weirder things start to happen. And then this like demon creature crawls from whatever, the ether, it starts off way in the background of the mirror and gets closer and closer and closer. And it's wearing your face like a mask. And then your reflection is just like smiling creepily at you and winking and being gross.
But at that point, there's nothing you can do because you said once it like has your face, it's gonna like hunt you down.
I think what they mean is that if you continue to stay in there at this point, it comes and claims your soul. Because in order for this legend to make any sense at all, we have to believe that it's called the Devil's Toy Box because the devil is in it, or that some sort of portal. And so the devil, what does the devil want? All it wants is souls. So maybe it sends one of its demons, and if you continue to stand there, maybe the crawling creature comes and like grabs your soul through the mirror and takes it back. Because remember, some of the people have died from heart attacks. Some people are screaming and banging on the panes of glass and have to be dragged out by their friends and just barely survive. So I think that's why there's that element of see how long you can sit here. Like, how long can you withstand this torture without actually dying?
Dark-sided! Get the
Dark-sided?
hell out of my house, Satan!
Get out. Dark-sided. Get the hell out of my house. In Jesus' name, I pray.
Oh my
Get
god.
the hell out of my mirror box, Satan.
Satan, get your box out of my mirror. Yeah, what? Ooh, I don't like that. I'm also just
creepy.
picturing it like what like, okay, my brain is like brain rot, right?
Right.
So like whatever I see in the mirror is gonna be scary, but it's also gonna be like a reflection of my mind. So it's gonna be brain rot, right? So I was thinking like, when it starts like moving and it's not doing what you're doing, like instead of it like pulling up a knife or something, what if it just starts like Gangnam Style? I don't know. What if it's doing like Fortnite emotes and stuff?
Yeah.
What if it's doing dead TikTok dances?
Would that, honestly, that might be
Like
the
the one
modern
where y-
horror story. Like, the demon is making me look cringe.
That's not even relevant. Why are you planking? I would never do that. Okay, and
Not me getting dragged to hell.
yeah, not me being shy around my creature wearing my face.
Also, it made me think, like, how hotboxing is closing up all the windows in your car and smoking weed so that you just get more high because the smoke can't
Right.
leave you? What if haunt boxing is being trapped in one of these mirrored boxes so that you can't escape and you just get more and more and more haunted,
Yeah, I mean, this one's scary. They tried on this one. This one is scary. I am scared. And
As you should be. My
don't
goal
know.
with these episodes, to be honest with you, it didn't start off this way, but now I'm kind of hoping that this is what happens. I would love for this to get picked up by Fox News, and they're like, is your kid haunt boxing? More news at 10. And then parents are like, my child's summoning a demon in the middle of Old Man Wither's Halloween park.
that would be great if Fox News picked it up.
Come on, guys. Let's make it
Come on,
happen.
guys.
Everyone send emails to Fox News.
I have to, like, there's got to be a way to get more than one person in at once. Like, you're telling me that, like, a very small person hasn't tried to go in there with, like, multiple people?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think demons won't appear to underage people because they have scruples, even though it seems like they wouldn't?
No, because, like, demons love to appear to, like, a 12-year-old Catholic girl or something, you know? They can't they can't not appear to like a little
true.
kid, right? Like the Shining type kids, stuff like they love that. They totally understand the
True.
creepiness appeal of children. So I feel like if anything, a child is more likely to get haunted.
So maybe if people figure out where this enigmatic field is in the middle of an unnamed town in Louisiana, bring your kids, make them stand one on top of the other, and shove them in the devil's toy box and let us know what happens. As soon as I got out of my teenage years, I was very confident that I was no longer going to have to deal with acne, but that was a mistake because I absolutely have battled acne well into my adulthood. But one of the things that I was shocked to find makes the biggest difference for me is switching out my pillowcase. Specifically, I use a baby pink silk BLISSY pillowcase. I wish I knew about this sooner, but satin is so bad for you. But BLISSY Silk is an incredible game changer. By switching to BLISSY, you'll see healthier skin and hair in weeks. BLISSY Silk pillowcases have anti-aging properties, reducing fine lines and wrinkles over time. Plus, they eliminate frizz from your hair, preserving hairstyles and protecting color-treated hair. They're way better than satin. Satin is made from synthetics, rough on hair and skin, and cheap for a reason. You don't want to cheap out on your beauty products, and that includes your pillowcase. Plus, BLISSY Silk pillowcases are easy to care for. They're machine washable. They're naturally cooling and help promote better sleep. They're antibacterial and hypoallergenic, naturally hydrating, and keep skin moisturized all night long. They also have over 99 fun colors, including a new Wicked and Harry Potter line. And BLISSY's pillowcases are made to pair with the new BLISSY adjustable pillow that comes in both classic and crescent shape. Because you're a listener, BLISSY is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/LGHpod. That's BLISSY.com/LGHpod. And use code LGHPOD to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. And now back to your regularly scheduled haunting. Part 2. The Mirror Box Ritual. While the story of the Devil's Toy Box may seem more like a piece of folklore rather than an actual paranormal game to play in the dark, there is a version of this story that includes instructions for how to craft your own version of the haunted booth so that you too can see for yourself what ghostly specters appear in the mirrors. You ready to learn about this?
Yes, let's go.
In 2012, a Reddit user going by the name Owerath claimed that they found the instructions for this game on the now defunct blog The King of Wolves. Called the Mirror Box Ritual, this game is said to be very expensive to execute due to how many supplies are needed to pull it off. However, for those who have been able to pull it off, the results are said to be out of this world, perhaps even out of this dimension. The post reads as follows: Recipe for the Mirror Box Ritual. This is what he says. I should preface this with a few notes. 1. This is not my ritual. It comes from the blog The King of Wolves, which some of you may be familiar with. If not, it's a website with a lot of utter crap on it, and a few really interesting tidbits. I'm posting it mostly because I've been fascinated with the idea for a few years now, and because most paranormal rituals seem to be mirror-based. 2. I have never attempted this ritual. The materials are somewhat costly, and honestly, I doubt I have the stones for this one. Number 3. I know all these rituals say this, but for real, take this one seriously. This ritual basically entails placing yourself inside a devil's toy box for 10 minutes with a light. I have a lot of theories, both from an occult perspective and a psychological point of view, on what could be happening inside the mirror box. And while some of the possible outcomes are quite enlightening, others are absolutely terrifying. So, the usual warnings. Do not attempt this as a lark, or if you're not mentally stable. Especially do not attempt this if you have a history of negative interactions with the paranormal which have not been definitively resolved. Do be prepared for practically anything. And of course, if you have the time, money, and cojones to attempt this ritual, please share your experience in the comments, even though the ritual specifies that we shouldn't believe anything you say. More on that later. The mirror box is quite an old invention. Being inside of one can be enlightening or traumatizing for the witness who bears its burden. The procedure is simple, though finding and preparing the materials required may take you some time. The materials to construct the box are as follows: 6 square metal sheets slightly taller than the witness. The length should never exceed the height of the witness with raised hands. One of them should be larger than the rest by at least the thickness of the sheets themselves. The material should preferably be made of graphite or lead alloy for the most prominent effect. 5 nearly perfect aligned mirrors sealed upon the metal plates. Each of the 5 will form the sides and bottom of the inner box. 1 large mirror should be attached to the large metal plate which will be used for the top. A simple light source of pure white or bright yellow light. The light source should emit in almost all directions. Candles can be used, but carbon dioxide and monoxide poisoning is a problem. The light source should not be planted upon the mirrors or receive any outside energy. Construction techniques are left up to the witness. 2 or 3 alarm clocks. An extra alarm clock of any kind is also needed. Watches are okay, but not suggested due to the small typeface and hands. Wear simple clothing. Do not bring any other objects. Witnesses have often crowded the box, causing it to become either useless or highly dangerous. This includes jewelry, food, weapons, or religious materials such as beads and crucifixes. An assistant is required to help the witness in and out of the box and help in case of emergencies. The assistant should be trusting and as strong-willed as the witness. 2 ladders are also needed, plus several blankets, water, medical remedies, and a first aid kit. Once the box is complete and ready to use, prepare the alarm clocks to ring around 10 minutes after the witness's planned entrance. Depending on the material used for the box itself, the time of day will not matter, but a night during a new moon is suggested. Despite intuition, sound does not play a large role in the event. The witness should use a small, unattached ladder to enter the box. The top should already be placed upon the box with an opening large enough for the witness to enter. Once inside, the witness should be handed the light source and the clocks. One should be kept with an assistant, though. The outside assistant should ask sincerely whether the witness is all right during the ritual. Once confirmation is given, the top should be moved to seal the box. The witness may turn on the light source once the box is sealed. At any point, should the witness ask to leave the box, if soundproof, tapping should be used. Only the top of the box should be opened, not the sides. The witness may do it themselves since the top of the box should be easily reachable. Once 10 minutes are up, always remove the top, regardless of what the witness says. Some witnesses may plead to stay inside the box, even suggesting great danger if it's opened. The assistant should never trust anything the witness within the box says. Suffocation is only one of many concerns should the witness stay too long within it. Once the top has been slid open, place the second ladder in the box to allow the witness to leave. If the witness has any serious wounds or discoloration, call 911 for immediate medical help. Should you happen to meet a witness, never trust what they say about their experience, and never ask them for the time or where the entumbra meets.
What's entumbra?
This is a great question. Okay, the umbra, penumbra, and anti-umbra are 3 distinct parts of a shadow created by any light source after impinging on an opaque surface of lesser size. Here, I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you a diagram.
This is weird. Like, why is it so obsessed with, like, keeping the witness safe, even though, like, the witness is just gonna get destroyed? Like, it'll be like, make sure the witness has all the proper things they need, you know, make sure their safety is engaged, and then it'll be like, but they're gonna get shredded. It's like, once they come out, don't trust them. What's the point of preserving the witnesses, like, vital signs and shit if they're like, you don't even like them anymore afterwards? Well, I guess this is just a larger conversation of whether or not we should kill everyone we don't like.
I think the idea is that it's supposed to be a really transformative experience that the person has within the box. They have some sort of like occult experience. They meet a supernatural entity. They look at their reflection and they see some shit. We're not quite sure what exactly happens to them, and they will die if they stay in there past 10 minutes. So you have to to get them out of there no matter what they're saying. So if they're like, no, just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. I'm about to like see some crazy shit or I need to stay in here. Just don't believe them. Take the roof off the building and put a ladder in and have them climb out. And then if you ask them what they saw, they won't really give you an answer that makes any sense. They'll say something super weird and enigmatic like this guy who wrote this thing and you're like, but why? What do you mean this? What do you mean that? And he's like, I unfortunately can't tell you. You just wouldn't get it because you've never been inside the devil's box. You have to do it for yourself to see what it is. You can't possibly explain it. But I just sent you 2 pictures to your phone that I would like you to explain to the audience. These are penumbras and antumbras.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's just basically like where 2 shadows intersect.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Basically, if someone comes out, don't ask them anything about their shadow, because you just wouldn't get it.
Yeah, literally. So you go in there with a flashlight and then you're like shining it on your face. And you look at your
like
reflection.
this.
Yeah. Like a stereotypical sleepover spooky story, you know, when you were a kid and you would shine a flashlight under your face to cast shadows on your nose and eyes so that you look creepier while you're telling the story. And you look at yourself in your reflection and then your shadow, like shadows start to come out of your face and your reflection transforms into what this guy is calling the anti-umbra.
Okay, remember that one episode we did where we watched like that VHS tape of that one guy who like summons spirits or something, like Solomon's, I can't remember what it was, but he was talking about,
He was like, and the ancients used to look in scrying mirrors, and their face would change. Is it any wonder why they saw
forgot about
things
that guy.
warping?
yeah, he was like had some cult or something, but
Yeah, I forget. It was on one of your episodes. I don't remember which one it was. If you guys remember, drop it in the comments below. But yeah, I remember him just like walking around a
robe.
wooden room. Yeah.
yeah, this is what it's kind of reminding me of.
So the idea with this ritual is a little bit ambiguous because unlike in previous games that we've talked about, usually there's a goal. So it'll be like, hey, do you want wealth beyond your wildest dreams? Do this ritual. Do you want to live forever? Do this ritual. Do you want to enter a parallel dimension? Do this ritual. But this one is ambiguous, like I said, because we don't know what actually happens. We don't really know what people see. Some of the stories we have say, oh, well, you just start hearing whispers, your shadow turns into something, your reflection turns into something, your shadow and reflection morph into something, a demon starts slithering towards you wearing your face. But we don't really know because apparently the people who exit this box successfully either die or they go crazy or they have retrograde amnesia or they go mute. They can't even explain anything for the rest of their lives. Like in that one example from the legend from Louisiana, a guy just could never speak ever again because whatever he saw took his voice presumably or was so traumatic that he couldn't. Or in this example from this user, you can't tell people what happened to you. So you just say weird lies or you deflect. And so that's why he says never trust what somebody says they saw.
Oh, I was thinking more like the person who comes out is actually just like possessed by the demon that was wearing their face.
It could be, but that's the thing. We don't know. But some of these people who have successfully carried out this ritual, it's like they didn't want to leave the box. So presumably whatever is in there is amazing to experience to the point where you don't want to leave.
Right.
Yeah, like you turn into Gollum.
Yeah. Aly, if you really didn't want to be taken from that box, I know you're a skilled debate person, right? What would you say in order to not be taken from that box?
I think I would just be really annoying, right? Because if you started being really annoying or insulting to the person outside the box, they might get exasperated and just leave you in there. I feel like you'd have to do some reverse psychology, you know what I mean? Like be like, your mom never loved you, your boyfriend cheated on you with a bear. I don't know, like just say wild shit that's gonna piss off the person so that they leave.
I would just be like, look, I didn't want to have to do this, but if you take me out of this box right now, I'm going to do revenge porn on you. Now, I know you've never sent me porn of yourself, but I will hire actors who look like you, and we're going to make it. And it's going to be real. It's going to be really bad. It's not going to be flattering portrayals of you at all. I'll make sure to audition the fuggliest people with the worst genitalia. Just no chemistry at all. So everyone's gonna see this and be like, not only am I disturbed that this person is sending me sex videos of them right now, this is completely inappropriate, but they're also just super not hot, which is upsetting.
That is literally the only thing worse than having a sex tape of yourself leak would be having an unflattering sex tape of yourself leak. You know what I mean? Like, at least
where you're just like laying there, not doing
starfishing,
anything.
like make a really unflattering lighting.
Yeah.
The shadows, like your fupa is casting a shadow. Like, you know what I mean?
Some people might like that, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, just all of the parts that you're not trying to bring, like, oh, my double chin looks so plump and juicy there. It's like, no.
Your mascara has run down your face from the sweat and has created what appears to be a little mustache on your face.
Oh,
you know, like
yeah.
just stuff like
Right.
that, to where when people watch your sex tape, all they can think about is how bad you look in it.
Yeah.
That's the
And you're just
only
like,
thing
look,
worse.
they're like, then you just have to be like, look, there's nothing wrong with having a mustache. I would wax a mustache if I have one. I don't have one.
Yeah.
That's not what that is. Okay, please. It's fine. Everything's normal with me. It's okay if you have hair on your face, but I don't.
Yeah. Now imagine if your doppelganger, your evil shadow penumbra, got its nudes leaked.
Ooh,
You know?
I'm curious. I would want to see it.
Would you have sex with your evil doppelganger?
Is that incest?
Oh, I don't know.
Because are you related to yourself?
Whoa. Whoa. I just thought you were going to say yes. I did not even fathom such a mind-bending twist. Wow. Okay, now's the time that we go into theories. Normally, we don't do theories on our Paranormal Games episodes because usually it's pretty straightforward. There's no theory about it. It's just like, do some crazy
It's
shit.
just a fucked up game.
Get some crazy shit, right? However, I was having so much fun writing this episode that I decided to throw in one believer theory and one skeptic theory just for fun. So here are 2 theories on the Devil's Toy Box ritual. Part 3, the theories. Theory number 1, the ritual works because mirrors are haunted. We've talked about mirrors before on this show, but the gist of this theory is as follows. Mirrors have long been seen as more than mere glass. Across many cultures, they're feared as haunted gateways, soul traps, or portals to other realms. This eerie lore spans continents and centuries. In Victorian England and America, families draped mirrors in black after a death so the departing spirit wouldn't be ensnared or distracted by its own reflection. Far beyond the West, similar rites turn up in places from China to Madagascar, where any mirror in a house of mourning might be covered to prevent the soul of the dead or the living from getting lost in the looking glass. These uncanny beliefs are no mere coincidence. Even thousands of years ago, people treated reflective surfaces with dread. Archaeologists note that 8,000 years ago in Anatolia, villagers believed a polished obsidian mirror held one's soul. Something just banged against the door.
Oh my god. Every time you do something like that, I just get this like sharp trill pain like up my spine and it you scare me.
I mean, someone really did bang against it, but I assume if they need me, they'll just open the door. So that whatever, in Anatolia, villagers believed that if you had an obsidian mirror, which I think now we would just call a scrying mirror, it held your soul, and if you broke it, it would harm your soul. So like to break a mirror was to break your soul, which kind of makes sense because we do have this modern belief that smashing a mirror to bits results in bad luck, right? So it does seem to hold even still today. But then I continued on and I said, with so many cultures whispering that something otherworldly lurks behind the mirror's shine, one can't help but wonder if these reflective panes really are a gateway to the unknown.
No, I like the voice. Please do more of that.
I need my blue blocker glasses to really pull it together. If I was wearing them, I would have slid them down my nose at you, like an old librarian. But European folklore is particularly rich with warnings about mirrors as eerie conduits between the worlds of the living and the dead. In the 19th century Victorian era, it became customary, like I said, to cover every mirror in a home when someone had just died, lest the newly departed spirit see itself and remain trapped or refuse to leave. In Germany and the Netherlands, a person who glimpsed their own face in a mirror after a family member's death was thought to be marked as the next to die. This dread of mirrors extended to any damage done to them. The famous superstition that breaking mirrors brings 7 years of bad luck comes from ancient Roman lore that a mirror doesn't just reflect your image, it reflects your soul, which takes 7 years to regenerate after being shattered. In other words, to crack a mirror, like I said, was to crack your soul, leaving
That's
you
crazy
vulnerable.
though that it regenerates after 7 years.
I know, and we have a 7 tattooed on our ankles, Nat and I do. So does that mean that subconsciously we believe the same thing?
Okay, wait, but don't they say if you break a mirror, it's 7 years of bad luck? Is that why? Because, like, if you don't have a soul for 7 years?
So apparently it's bad luck because it leaves your soul vulnerable to misfortune until it is fully healed, which takes 7 years. So the idea is that, I guess because we look into mirrors so often, it holds a piece of you within it. And so if you break that mirror, it breaks your soul. It takes 7 years to regenerate. So now your body is more vulnerable because it doesn't have all of its soul.
Okay,
Even
that makes actually. That does not make any sense at all, but sure.
Yeah, dude. Just go with it. Even the monsters of European legend affirm the mirror's mystical reputation. Vampires, for example, cast no reflection at all, a sign of their cursed, soulless nature in folklore. Does that fucking blow your mind? Did you ever make that connection? I had never made that connection.
No, that within the construct of this thing that makes no sense, that at least follows the rules of the nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if we believe that the mirror is your soul, and then if you don't have a reflection in a mirror, that means you have no soul.
But haunted mirror lore is far from exclusive to Europe. It appears in diverse cultures worldwide, suggesting a universal spine chill at our own reflections. As I said, Chinese tradition also, for example, they have the same belief that mirrors should be covered or turned to the wall after a death in the household. And there is a grim warning that if a coffin or corpse is carried past a mirror, the soul might see itself and become a restless ghost, doomed to never find peace. Some Buddhist households even hang small mirrors by doorways to catch roaming evil spirits before they can enter. The mirror is thought to trap the demon's image and thus stop it at the threshold. Similar beliefs can be found across Africa. In Madagascar, Victorian observers noted the custom of hiding mirrors during mourning, and elsewhere people have even been buried with mirrors in their graves to prevent the spirit from rising and wandering. In indigenous American lore, another layer of mystique is added. The Aztecs of Mesoamerica revered a deity called Tezcatlipoca, the smoking mirror, who carries a magical obsidian mirror said to reveal visions and destinies from the spirit world. To this day, in parts of rural Mexico, mirrors are regarded with superstitious awe as potential portals, and some folk healers use mirrors or reflective glass in divination rituals, believing these surfaces channel messages from the sun, the moon, and the realm of the spirits. In every era and every corner of the globe, people have looked into mirrors and felt a shiver of the unknown. Perhaps it's the unsettling feeling of seeing one's double, or an ancient fear that our reflection has a life of its own. When folklore from so many parts of the globe all agree and warn about mirrors, from tales of souls being captured to spirits peering through the mirrors to reflections foretelling death, it raises the eerie possibility that these legends share a grain of truth. So that's my argument for why the story makes sense, actually, if you really think about it.
I loved it. I also wonder, like, if all of these things are said to be true, like through folklore and stuff about mirrors, then why do we have them if they just, like, are net bad?
Because
Like,
we're
is
obsessed.
making sure... Because we're obsessed with ourself.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what's the alternative? How else would you see if you have something in your tooth? I guess take a picture. But isn't that just another mirror? Like you said earlier, like, isn't a screen kind of a mirror? Isn't taking a picture kind of a mirror? So I don't think there's any way to avoid it. Also, when you walk by a super shiny glass building and you see your reflection, that's a mirror.
Is not society in general a mirror of mankind's hopes and dreams?
Oh, that lets me know that you're on board, and now it's time to smash that mirror to smithereens with theory number 2. This theory says that this ritual is just an urban legend, and what people are actually seeing in the mirror is a known psychological phenomenon that occurs when you stare at your own reflection in the dark for too long. The sources for this theory come from psychologytoday.com and ResearchGate. Fixating on your own dim reflection can feel uncanny, but perceptual science fully explains this without the need for ghosts. When you stare steadily at a point, for example, your own eyes in the mirror, for many seconds, a well-known phenomenon called the Troxler effect makes peripheral features fade from awareness. In a dark mirror, this means parts of your face at the edges of gaze literally blur or vanish, and the brain fills in that missing information. The result can look distorted. Cheeks may seem to merge together, eye sockets might deepen, or shadows might take on entirely new shapes, making your reflection look less and less like yourself the more that you stare. This adaptive filtering of constant stimuli is a normal brain process, not paranormal. Psychologists have actually measured these mirror effects under controlled conditions. In one experiment, subjects stared into a dimly lit mirror for about 10 minutes. The majority of people saw startling images. Roughly 66% reported grotesque deformations of their own face, about 28% saw a different or completely unknown person, and nearly half saw an animal or monster face. Vision scientists explain this by noting that sustained gaze disrupts how the brain binds facial features into a coherent whole. Under strain and low light, small random fluctuations called noise in the image then gets misinterpreted by the brain. The brain's pattern recognition then weaves these ambiguous cues into familiar shapes, such as pets, strangers, cartoonish faces, etc. In short, the strange face illusion is a vivid hallucination caused by normal visual adaptation and pattern completion, all internally generated by your own brain. Mirror gazing can also trigger mild dissociative or emotional reactions. Research reviews find that staring at oneself can induce sensations of derealization, which means the outside world feels not so real to you, depersonalization, which means one's own body starts seeming strange, or even a sense that another identity has appeared in the mirror. In experiments, nearly every participant reported a feeling of otherness, as if an unknown person were watching them from the glass. Neuropsychology offers clues. Perceiving our own faces uses many of the same brain networks as seeing someone else's face. Thus, your emotional attitude toward yourself can color the mirror experience. For example, if you unconsciously feel critical or anxious of your appearance, mirror gazing may trigger feelings of fear or discomfort. In essence, eye contact with one's own reflection can amplify whatever expectations or emotions are already in your mind. All of these are well-documented effects. Visual adaptation, feature fading, and mild disassociation arise from normal brain processing. They explain perfectly why a static mirror image might morph into something eerie when stared at for too long. And that is the argument for why all of this is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that's still haunted, though. Like, you're like, actually, you're staring at yourself and you're seeing demons because you don't like yourself. And your subconscious brain is imprinting a demon on your face. Like, is that not still haunted? Like, why is that happening? Well, actually, in your peripheral vision, it just blurs out the edges. Could that not be our mask slipping, right? Like, if this is a simulation, like, if this is, you know, some sort of strange realm that's been cast on us, like, could that just be reality slipping? Wow, it really makes you think. It really makes you think.
It really does make you think. Let me list my sources before I ask you for our final analysis and thoughts on this episode. Sources for this episode include an article entitled Monsters in the Mirror. No, really, literal monsters by Macklin Stanley JD for Psychology Today in 2014. An article entitled Strange Face in the Mirror Illusion by Giovanni B. Caputo for ResearchGate.net. An article entitled Mirror and Eye Gazing, an Integrative Review of Induced, Altered, and Anomalous Experiences by Giovanni B. Caputo, Stephen J. Lynn, and James Horan for ResearchGate.net. An article for ThoughtCatalog.com by Joel Farrelly entitled There's a Shack Called Devil's Toybox in Louisiana, and people who go in there supposedly lose their minds. A post to the subreddit r/3kings by user Orath entitled Recipe Mirror Box Ritual. An article for Hazlitt.net by Colin Dickey entitled Behind the Draped Mirror. And a blog post written by J.A. Hernandez on his own blog found at jahernandez.com entitled Mirrors, Superstitions, Mythology, Psychology, and Sanity. An article for randomtimes.com by a user simply going by the name Leo S. entitled The Spooky Science of Haunted Mirrors and Superstitious Mirror Mythology. An article by Lori L. Dove and Sasha Bose for HowStuffWorks.com entitled Why is a Broken Mirror Bad Luck? And finally, an article by Juan Vioro for the Harvard Divinity Bulletin entitled The Obsidian Mirror. Natalia, tell me your thoughts.
Okay, we know that our vision's not perfect anyways, right? And like your brain makes up a lot of what you quote unquote can see to like form your reality. Like, you know, you can do experiments where like you can see through your hand when it's in your blind spot because your brain has actual blind spots in your vision and stuff. And so, you know, I wonder, like, if someone wanted or something wanted to manipulate our vision, they could very easily, right? Especially if that thing was magical or demonic or had paranormal supernatural powers. So I don't think, like, science can... I don't think we can science away the spookiness of not really ever knowing what we're seeing is real or not, you know? They're like, actually, it's just science, so you're just seeing a demon and it's not that scary.
And it's actually not a big deal that you're seeing a demon because it's science.
Yeah, and it's like, no, that's still pretty scary. And don't they say, like, a broken mirror is right twice a day or something like that?
No, a broken clock is right twice a day.
All right, never mind. My next point doesn't work. All right, that's all I've got. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool idea. I love urban legends that have to do with Halloween. I think Halloween is such a fun time of year. There's already so many religious and spiritual pieces of folklore about Halloween, about how the veil is thinned during this time. And so I just thought it was really cool that there's an urban legend about a mirror box in basically a Halloween attraction that actually brings demons and the devil to you. And ultimately, I don't really care if science can explain it or not because it's a good fucking story. And I love a good campfire ghost story, which I think is exactly what this paranormal game is. Do I think anyone's actually going to play it? No, because it seems super involved that you've got to build this mirrored room to these very specific specifications, and it seems too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any interest today. It sounds a little claustrophobic also. I do feel like, okay, so I grew up dancing, and when you dance or like do any sort of performance arts that requires like mirrors to be all around, I feel that people who do those types of things do end up with like a lot of psychological issues, like whether it's like disordered eating or body dysmorphia or low self-esteem or like perfectionism. You know, there's even movies about that. Like every fucking movie about a dancer or a performer is about like, I'm not good enough. If I could just perform better, then I would be a good, better person, right? And I think that, like, I've always considered that to just be a reflection of how, in order to be the best at something, you have to, like, practice it so much that it drives you insane. But what if it's really the mirrors that are driving them insane?
Yeah, like having to look at yourself for so long every single day might actually
Yeah.
cause lower self-esteem and more
Right.
self-doubt in the mind. I actually, you know what? That brings up a good point because I see people saying this all the time on TikTok, and I really do think it's true. We're so used to seeing our faces with filters on that when you see yourself in a photo now that has no filter, because a lot of our social media is designed around filters, whether or not it actually changes your bone structure is beside the point. Some of them just kind of add like a grainy filter to make it more aesthetic or more artistic. And so when we're seeing ourselves all the time in selfies with and without filters, you start to be more critical of yourself. And I see people commenting on things all the time on TikTok saying, you know, I went to my esthetician and I pointed out this little scar I have, or I pointed out that I think my upper lip isn't flipped enough, or I think my eyebrows aren't arched enough, or I think my eyes aren't cat-like enough. And more doctors and estheticians are starting to say to people, we were never meant to look at ourselves this closely. Like, we really weren't. Like, the back of my head is none of my business, as many people often say. Like, I don't care if my ponytail looks fucked up. I shouldn't know about it. I shouldn't be
Right.
looking at myself as often as I am, because in our profession, we kind of have to look at ourselves.
Do.
Yeah. And so, like, when I start feeling critical of the way that I look, or I start looking at myself too much and finding little minutia that I'm picking out and I'm not liking, and I'm like, ooh, I wish that I didn't have like this scar over here, or my skin looks dull. I just remind myself, like, I was never meant to look at myself this much.
Yeah, or maybe get even more haunted with it. It's like, oh, am I around the mirrors too much? Are
Yeah.
the mirrors starting to talk to my soul? Is my soul becoming fragmented by seeing my reflection too much? Yeah, that's how we're going to start redirecting our insecurities. We're going to be like, actually, I need to step away from the mirror. It's beginning to get demonic. And I am going somewhere where there are no reflections for a little while. It's like a sort of spiritual timeout.
Yeah, good idea. Cover the mirrors in your house. Put down your phone. Don't let anyone tell you how you look for 10 minutes every day, and maybe your soul will be put back together.
Yeah. But what if you're looking in the mirrors and you like what you see and it's giving you like a boost?
Yeah, that's haunted in a different way, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Guys,
Great episode.
thank you. Thank you very much. Guys, if you made it all the way to the end of this episode, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Did you miss Paranormal Games to Play in the Dark? Because it's been a long fucking time. We're on episode 233. Our last one was episode 181. Like, it's been a long time. We were due for one. So let us know if there are other paranormal games you'd like us to cover in a future episode. The reason why it took me so long to come back to this series is honestly because I was running out of paranormal games. So let me know if you found one that you want us to cover.
Oh, yeah. You guys, I'm just going to go ahead and request it right now. I would love you guys to make up some paranormal games and write them into us or call them into us. If you go to our website, letsgethaunted.com, there is the Haunty Hotline. That is actually a sneaky, fast way to reach us because we don't currently have a backlog of voice messages that's very long. So if you leave us a message on there, we're going to probably get to your phone call within the next episode or two. But if you write to us, it's probably going to be years, maybe a dozen. Yeah, dozen listener story episodes, which is like 120 episodes from now. Leave us a voice message, and if you're afraid, maybe you can put on a little voice. Have fun with it.
Yeah, or like that guy that I interviewed from 4chan this year for episode 207, the alien episode, or the alien photo that got deleted from 4chan. I interviewed that guy and he was like, can you put a voice changer on me? And I was like, I mean, it's not that serious, but like, yeah, I can. And so I did. And then some people were commenting being like, why did a guy put a voice changer on himself to talk about a fake photo? And it's like, I don't know, man, but you can do it. You can do it if you want to. I mean, I don't know what your reasons are for being sneaky. Maybe you just don't want your wife to find out that you had a haunted experience. Also, I want to know if anyone's had a weird experience with a mirror. There are so many examples of paranormal games like Bloody Mary. I don't know. There's just so many examples of haunted games that involve mirrors, whether it's a scrying mirror or a regular mirror or a pane of glass. And I just want to hear all about it.
Me too.
Well, Nat, would you like to do our
What?
sign-off for this week's episode?
Yep. BRB, gonna go propose a question at a party full of strangers of whether you have sex with yourself, your doppelganger. Is that incest? Or what is that?
Bye. Welcome to the closing credits for episode 233. This month, we would love to give a warm, heartfelt thank you to our Patreon donors who donated to us in the month of July 2025, letters I through L. If you'd like to become a donor and hear your name shouted out on a future episode, head over to patreon.com/c/letsgethaunted, where you will not only get a shout out, but you'll also get access to episode extras, mini-sodes, personal hauntings, live streams, and much, much more. This week, we'd like to thank Ileana RN, Ileana RN, Inky Pop Art, Isabella, It's Kelsifer, Ivan L, Yvonne L, Jackie L, Jacob, JDKP, Jamit, Jamie F, Jasmine B, Jasmine C, Jason G, Javier M, JM, Jamie L, Jeff W, Jen M, Jenna M, Jennifer C, Jennifer W, Jenny B, Jenny Squiddy, Jesselyn, Joaquin E, Jocelyn, Johan, Johan, John H, Jordan C, Jordan L, Jose P, Julia C, Julia M, Julie C, Juliet H, Justin MC, Justine D, Kate M, Cardon 47, Karen H, Karen K, Karina C, Carly K, Carly M, Kat, Kat and Alice the Malice, Katie Cat, K to the Win, Kayla M, Kayla P, Kayak, Kelsey, Kelsey K, Kelsey E, Kelsey L, Kendra, Kimberly F, Kindred and Amber, Kirsten C, Kirsten C, Kittenish Kate, Corky M, Corey with a K, Christy B, Kristen K, Kylie K, Lacey M, Laura the Lauren, Lauren B, Lowry, Lori, Ladybug 979, Leah R 1991, Leanna BC, Lena, Lena, Lex L, Lexitronic, Lexatronic, Lil Dilda, Lily Bones, Lily Bell, Lindsay S, Lisa B, Lisa H, Lisa H, Lisa ML, Lisa R, Lizard, Lizzie L, Luxury Guinea Pigs. Thank you guys so much for donating to us in the month of July 2025. We are very appreciative of every single person that takes time out of their day to support us monetarily and to just support us in general. So whether you're streaming the show for free, subscribing to our Patreon, interacting with us, buying merch, commenting on our Instagram, commenting on our Facebook page, commenting in our subreddit. There's a million ways to support our show, and we really appreciate each and every one of you, with a special shout out to our Patreon donors who are really doing the heavy lifting this year for us. And we're just really grateful to everybody who has decided that we are worth supporting. So thank you guys so much. And now it's time for the secret password of the week. Every single week, we have a secret password at the very end of closing credits. And if you stayed long enough to hear it, that means you have a mission. And that mission is to go to our Instagram account at Let's Get Haunted on Instagram and comment the secret password on this week's photo dump. If you do so, and you do it correctly, you will be entered into the end of the year raffle. And the end of the year raffle is really cool. We have exclusive merch. Sometimes we have discontinued merch. We just have all kinds of goodies, and we choose 2 people at the end of each year. Nat picks one and I pick one. It's completely anonymous, randomized raffle. We just cut your names out every single time that you comment correctly the secret passcode on each photo dump. And then we put it inside of a jar or a bowl, and we just bloop, pick out a name. So now is your time to shine. The secret password of this week's episode that you will comment at Let's Get Haunted on Instagram is The Devil's Got a Nice Box. See you guys next week. Bye.